Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, good evening, sir. How are you, sir? Fine, sir.
Yeah, I'm fine, sir. I had a problem with my laptop, sir. I was not able to connect that.
It's
So
okay,
then
sir.
I joined with other.
Okay, sir, it's okay. Now, is this fine? Or your voice is not coming,
It's
sir.
fine. Sir, it's fine, sir. To my mobile only I have connected, sir.
Oh, so how do you share your PPT? Will you share from mobile?
Sir, I'll just try it out before starting the thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can share. Sir. We can share the PPT, sir.
Okay. If you need my help, please let me know. You can even send me. I'll share it for you. No issue, if needed.
Yes, sir. Just we'll try once before
Yes,
starting
sir.
the
Yes, sir.
before starting the webinar. We'll try once, sir.
Yes, sir. So I'm making you the host. You please do not allow the participants, and we can try the screen sharing right now.
I don't know how to go ahead with that.
Okay. So even though you will
Or,
get the option of screen sharing here after making, now you are a host, you will get the same option of screen sharing if
okay.
you have PPT in mobile.
Yeah, so later we'll see, sir. It is there in my mobile PPT. Is there.
Okay. So would you like to try screen sharing now, or we'll do it later?
Sir, now if it is better, sir, if we do.
Yeah. I made you the host. You can try now, sir.
Okay. Sir, you are able to see the screen?
Not now, sir. Till now it is not showing any screen.
No screen, sir.
No screen, sir. Till now there is no screen.
Or should I send my PPT, sir?
Yes, sir.
Or should I send my PPT, sir?
I think if you are finding any difficulty, have you tried with the screen sharing option available in the mobile? From there, you will.
Yes, sir. We tried.
Okay, actually, it is not even showing that you have shared the screen.
Uh,
Maybe you are having a good network connectivity.
now also same, sir.
No, sir. Till now, no screen is there. Even it is not also showing that you are sharing the screen. I will share the pic with you, sir. It is actually not even showing the message of that you have shared the screen.
So it is coming as. Sir, I will send the PPT. Will be
Okay.
able to do that, sir?
Yeah, definitely, sir. No issue. You send it to me. Do you have? I think my mail ID. I'm sending it again to you, so it would be easy. And Right now, I'll download it and then I'll share it. No issue. As you will say me, I'll change the slides accordingly.
Okay. Okay.
I'll send the mail ID to you, sir, right now.
Yes, sir.
Have you mailed it to me, sir?
Sir, I'm doing, sir.
Okay. Today's topic is very interesting for many of the people. Has very good feedback for it. So I think few more seniors will also join us for this great topic. Actually, even before I have never heard about the Tai Chi. It can be used in vestibular rehabilitation. It is really very new for many of us.
Sir, it is getting uploaded, sir. 1 second, sir.
Okay, okay, sir.
I have a little network issue in my house, sir.
Yeah. Actually, I think there is some network because sometimes your video is also freezing, so that definitely indicates that you have some connectivity issue there. And this is the actually only the
Actually,
biggest drawback of the online education, that we cannot control the technical issues like the internet connectivity.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, there is one place I need to go up out of my quarters. It is raining, sir. Actually,
Okay. So you are
so
residing there in the
that
quarters, na, sir? So
yeah,
accommodation has been
campus only,
provided.
sir. Quarter.
Oh, great, great. So the
Yes, sir.
accommodation
Yes,
is provided from the
yes,
college only, eh? The university has provided it. So I think
Yes,
Sanjeev
yes.
sir is also there in their quarters.
University. Sir is staying in next to one more quarters. There are 3 buildings are there, sir.
Okay, okay.
So I stay in a different building, sir. Sanjeev sir is also staying in the quarters only, but sir is
Oh.
staying in different building. I am in 3rd floor. Sir is there in a different building.
Oh, great.
So my Geo network and Idea network is having little issues, sir. Yesterday I came up and then I was able to attend your webinar.
Oh, great. So how much is your working hours, sir?
Sir,
It is 9 to 5.
It is 9 to 5, sir.
9 to 5. Okay, fine. So Saturday is off or
Sir, did
working
you
day?
receive, sir?
I opened the mail, but
Sir, half day, sir.
Saturday half day, great. And all GH obviously because it is the academics. I have not received the mail, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, it is showing it is sent now.
I have not received till now. Is this confirmly sent from I have even refreshed one time. The mail ID was correct, pthimanshu@gmail.com as I send you.
Himanshu@gmail.com, sir.
Yeah, but not received at my. Yeah. I have not received it till now. Okay, no issue. You can even send it to me on the WhatsApp also, and then let me start with the introduction. And till then, maybe it may receive here. There may be some time
Sir, one
lacking
second, sir.
of
I'll
some.
send it.
So I will even start the WhatsApp here in the laptop. So I think any of the sources I'll get the PPT.
Did you receive? WhatsApp I have sent, sir.
WhatsApp I'm even not WhatsApp also I have received. Yeah, I received the mail. Now it would work. No issue.
You received the mail.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm allowing the participant. Till then the PPT will download, and then we'll go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So we are just starting. Few more participants are joining.
Yes, sir. Actually, there was a issue, sir, network issue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's okay, sir. It's okay. It happens usually. So, hello, good evening, you all. Myself, Dr. Himanshu Sharma. On the behalf of Team Physio Inculcator, I would like to welcome you all in our today's session. First of all, before starting the introduction, I would like to say sorry to all for some delay. It has happened just because of some connectivity issue, and we have tried 1-2 times, but it was not properly working. So it has been delayed. So I'm really sorry for that. And even though I tried to convey the message on the even waiting room participants also, and really much thankful to all the participants for being so patient with us. So without wasting much of the time, we would like to go ahead with the session. Today we have a great resource person with us, Dr. Anil Murugode sir. Dr. Anil sir has their specialization in neurology and is working as associate professor and head of the department in the geriatric physiotherapy in the Kelly Institute of Physical Therapy, Wardha, Maharashtra. Dr. Anil sir is having around 17 years of the experience and more than 15 years of the academic experience. Sir has guided around more than 25 UGs and PGs for their various research projects. He has contributed a lot in the research. He has published their own paper in the various journal of international repute. Around more than 25 publications he has contributed till now. And Dr. Anil sir has done their doctorate in physical therapy, and he has chaired the various scientific sessions in the numerous national as well as international conferences in the country as well as outside, and has been invited as a resource person for the various international conferences. And he is also a member of board of study for the Kelly Institute and also an external examiner for the various universities of the national repute, and conducted many workshops for the vestibular rehabilitation. We are really much thankful to the Anil sir for sparing their precious time to share their incredible knowledge on a really a very new topic, Tai Chi in vestibular rehabilitation. So we are privileged and honored to have Dr. Anil sir with us here to share their kind words, to share their precious knowledge with us. So I would like to say thanks to you, sir, for your time sparing. We are really grateful to you, and thank to all the participants for being so patient and joining us. So without delaying, I'm just sharing the screen. Hope it is available. Is this available on the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's available, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. So
So,
again,
good evening
welcome
to
you, sir,
everyone.
and over to you, sir.
Yeah, good evening to everyone. And I would like to thank Dr. Himanshu Sharma and his team for inviting me as a speaker for this wonderful webinar series. And also, I would like to thank Physio Inculcators for inviting me as a resource person. Without wasting much time, I start with my topic, the Tai Chi in vestibular rehabilitation. So before going into a Tai Chi, so little brief introduction about the vestibular rehabilitation. So vestibular rehabilitation basically it is a balance rehabilitation, physical therapy for the balance or balance or imbalance. We call it as a dizziness and imbalance. We call it as a vestibular rehabilitation, or more generally a balance rehabilitation. So before going into details about the Tai Chi, we need to know how the balance is controlled by our body. So these are the structures. Next slide, sir. So these are the structures which basically maintain the balance of our body. So there are the three structures: visual system, proprioceptive system, and labyrinthine system. Basically, three systems which control the balance. So these are basically this diagram you can compare with the computer system. So computer system will have an input phase, processing phase, and the output phase, I can say, or processing unit and the monitor, I can say. So in case of input phase, we have here visual system, proprioceptive system, and labyrinthine system. Through this input, the processing phase, we have our higher centers, that is the cortex, cerebellum, and reticular formation and extrapyramidal systems like basal ganglia, etc. So whatever input is coming from these three systems, they integrate and store and then execute to the through the output phase, basically through the musculoskeletal system and neurological system. So it controls the motor skills, it controls the posture, it controls the oculomotor activity through the oculomotor reflex. So it controls even the head and body motion. So these are the higher centers which control the balance, and then basically the balance is maintained through these three systems. So next slide, sir. So next we have there are two types of vestibular disorders. basically one is peripheral vestibular disorder and central vestibular disorder. So peripheral vestibular disorder, the examples are, it might be the peripheral vestibular disorders like unilateral vestibular hypofunction, that bilateral vestibular hypofunction, labyrinthitis, neuritis, or ototoxicity, or vestibular autoimmune disorders, or vestibular fibrosis. So other conditions are like Meniere's disease or PPPV, all comes under peripheral vestibular disorder, which are just below the brainstem, pons and or just basically over which just they are coming just throughout the course of the nerve, vestibular nerve, any pathology or any pathology inside the vestibular apparatus, we call it as peripheral vestibular disorder. Anything above the brainstem, you can call it as a central vestibular disorder. The central vestibular disorders are basically examples are, it might be a traumatic brain injury or of a vestibular origin, or it might be a TIA, or it might be a stroke, or it might be demyelinating diseases or infective diseases, or there might be even the tumors. Okay, so there might be a brain tumors which affects the vestibular central part of the brain. So these are some examples which can lead to the balance disorders. Other than this, there are other conditions which can also lead to a dizziness of the balance issues like cervicogenic vertigo, or other cases like postural hypotension, cardiovascular system involvement if the patient is having the postural hypotension or carotid artery blockage. Those all cases also can lead to a central kind of vestibular symptoms. So there might be even the endocrinal dysfunction even can lead to a dizziness or balance issues where the patient is having hypoglycemia, hyperglycemia, or the patient with hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism can lead to a dizziness. As a therapist, we need to differentiate all these causes of the vestibular disorders, and we need to treat the patient depending on the what is the diagnosis of the patient. So basically, the peripheral as well as the central vestibular disorders have a symptoms like vertigo and the dizziness. So vertigo is nothing but a false spinning sensation which is caused by due to the vestibular involvement. It might be a central or it might be a peripheral vestibular disorder origin. If it is a central origin of peripheral vestibular disorder, generally the vertigo will be of more than 1 minute. Okay, generally, if it is a peripheral type of vestibular origin, then it will be less than 1 minute generally. Okay, so the patient with vertigo specifically explain the dizziness as makes the people feel like they are suddenly spinning or whirling or falling while they are not actually moving. So this is what we call it as a vertigo, or in other words, we can call it as a false spinning sensation. So next we have the peripheral vestibular disorders can be classified into another further categories like vestibular hypofunction, distorted vestibular function, fluctuating vestibular functions. So in case of vestibular hypofunction, we have unilateral vestibular hypofunction, bilateral vestibular hypofunction. Conditions like labyrinthitis, neuronitis can lead to this vestibular hypofunction. And in case of distorted vestibular hypofunction, we have a BPPV, that is called as benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. And next is another classification is the fluctuating vestibular function, where there is a problem will be very much fluctuating because of the pathology in the vestibular apparatus. Examples will be Meniere's disease or perilymphatic fistula. These are the commonest vestibular conditions which are commonly dealt with. So next slide, sir. So next we have next slide, sir. So next we have I won't go in detail about the details about the signs and symptoms of each central as well as the peripheral vestibular disorders. Directly, I'll go ahead with the medical management. So medical management for both this central as well as the peripheral vestibular disorders, basically the symptomatic management. So where the control of the acute management, okay, acute symptoms like nausea, vomiting and all will be controlled in the symptomatic management. Specific management if the patient is having some infection, whereas in case of labyrinthitis, infection has to be treated with antibiotics. So like that, the specific treatment has to be given. So if there is a patient is having a central origin and if it is vascular, then it has to be treated specifically, treat the underlying cause. So next, sir. So next is type of disorders referred for vestibular rehabilitation. So as I already told, the commonest disorders for the peripheral vestibular disorders. Next slide, sir. So commonest peripheral vestibular disorders are benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, unilateral vestibular disorders like labyrinthitis, so decreased subjective sensation. There are other conditions like post-operative cases or central vestibular disorders like stroke, and non-vestibular disorders can also lead to a imbalance. And it might be even bilateral vestibular loss, and even the recently even Meniere's also can be treated with a vestibular rehabilitation where the balance is one of the major issues. So next slide, sir. So we have different goals of vestibular rehabilitation. So the main our aim with the vestibular rehabilitation is to improve the balance, and so balance is one of the major issue in both peripheral as well as the central vestibular disorders, except BPPV, benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, and the balance disorders may vary from mild to severe in case of central as well as the peripheral vestibular disorders. And also our aim is to improve the minimize the fall and decrease the subjective sensation of the dizziness, improve the stability during the locomotion, and reduce the over dependency on visual as well as somatosensory input. As I told, there are three systems. Okay, so if there is a vestibular system is involved, so we have to train for the visual system and somatosensory system inputs if there is a complete loss. Okay, so there is a movie, Anki movie you must have seen, where there is a blind person will be robbing the bank. So here, completely blind. If there is a complete loss of vestibular system, then we can train with the proprioceptive system and also with the visual system. If it's a not complete loss, then even we can treat the vestibular system also, and then improve the neuromuscular coordination. By giving the muscular rehabilitation, we can improve the neuromuscular coordination also and decrease the anxiety. One of the major issues with vestibular disorders are patient will have very much anxiety and depressed. So especially the patients with BPPV and all, they come in a trolley or a wheelchair. That much it is bothering the patient is having a symptoms, severity of the symptoms. Once you treat with office procedures in BPPV and all, they go by walk. So that's not the vestibular rehabilitation is effective. So next slide, sir. So there are various treatment strategies commonly used for vestibular rehabilitation are adaptation, habituation, and substitution. So basically, adaptation means neural plasticity is taking place where the central nervous system corrects the error signals or wrong signals. Through that, the neural plasticity is happening, adaptation is happening. For that, repeated exposure to the symptom or dizziness provoking movement has to be given. Then only the CNS or central nervous system corrects these wrong signals, and then that's how the patient is getting benefited. So next strategy is habituation. In case of habituation, where the repeated exposure to the dizziness provoking symptoms can lead to the dizziness provoking symptoms can lead to the habituation. So for example, here, if the person buys a new house or home near the railway track, the person is not able to sleep. So during the night, his sleep is getting disturbed because of the tracks sound or the train sound. So here, same way, the person has to be repeated. So exposure to the dizziness provoking symptoms, so that the patient gets habituated and then patient gets better. So third important treatment strategy is substitution. Here substitution is, I told, three systems. The other two systems, visual system and the proprioceptive system, can be trained. That's how the patient is getting better with three strategies. Next, we have a vestibular rehabilitation therapy methods. There are different methods of vestibular rehabilitation. So one is the specific intervention. Most commonly, this is used for office procedures like Apley's maneuver or Gant's maneuver, or it might be a friend off exercise, those kind of things, specific exercises, cement maneuver. So specifically for the benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. So this is specifically for the benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. So general interventions are commonly used for both central as well as peripheral vestibular origin. Examples, it might be a Cawthorne-Cook exercise, postural control exercises, gaze stabilization exercises, yoga, and balance retraining exercises, and even the Tai Chi. So here comes in a Tai Chi. So the Tai Chi exercise also can be given for the vestibular disorders where the patient is having a balance issue. So other advanced treatment in the vestibular rehabilitation includes visual dependency training, where the patient is trained with a different backgrounds in the visual system, like a checkerboard pattern, or it might be a dark background, or it might be a white background, those kind of things. And other things like wide fit techniques or wide fit machines can be used for the balance training. So other recent advances. Next slide, sir. So next slide, sir. Next slide. So other training involves the virtual reality training, or virtual reality machines, or virtual environment is created through the virtual reality machine, and that's how the balance can be treated with the vestibular or peripheral or central vestibular origin balance disorder. And also there might be advanced balance training techniques like posturography or balance masters are available. To that, we can treat the patient with the balance disorder. So next, we will directly go ahead with the Tai Chi. That's the actual topic. Okay, so here the Tai Chi means, Tai means a limitless or infinite. Chi means inner power, and then in other words, we can call it as limitless or infinite inner energy, or also we can call it as a life energy. Tai Chi means. So Tai Chi is also called as Tai Chi Chun, and all it can be spelled as Tai Chi Qing and then Tai Chi Chun, and it's an ancient Chinese martial the treatment of various impairments like posture and the balance disorder. So basically, this Tai Chi is used for the balance disorders of peripheral as well as the central vestibular origin. So next is Tai Chi is a gentle exercise that is a part of Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine derived from a martial arts. So Tai Chi is composed of slow, deliberate movements, meditation, and deep breathing exercises, which enhance the physical health and emotional well-being. Where well-being. So nowadays, even the Tai Chi is helpful for elderly population. Most commonly, it is used for even in the elderly population, because it is the Tai Chi is a slow, deliberate movements which are controlled, which are of non-impact type of movements, which displaces the center of gravity, so that the patient is getting better. So next slide, sir. So next we have a history of Next slide, sir. Next, we have a history of Tai Chi. So in this, Dung San Frank is a martial artist who lived in China in the late 16th century and created a specific practice of this Tai Chi. So through after his usage, so general public started using in China, and it was first introduced in the United States in early 1970s and has become a grown in popularity. So before that, in 1970s and before, it was only used in China. But after the usage, after 1970s, this Chinese medicine was used all over the world. So all over the world. So so after using this all over the world, so basically there are 108 forms of Tai Chis are there, and so in the modern form of Tai Chi, modern form of the Tai Chi was basically developed uh, developed in China in 1956 by Committee of Mainland. So in China, so they developed basically for the army. They developed this as a one of the calisthenic exercise. So calisthenic exercise are the one basically uses the whole body or large group of muscles where the variety of movements are trained in case of calisthenic exercises, where the modern form of Tai Chi was basically used for the army, and also it was used for so Olympics also and Asian Games also it was used. So next we have how does the Tai Chi basically works. So Tai Chi basically works on the Eastern philosophy where the Tai Chi holds the philosophy holds that Tai Chi unblocks the flow of Chi. So the Tai Chi means already I told that it's a infinite energy where there is a blockage of the energy. So with the practice of this Tai Chi, it unblocks the energy. It unblocks the energy. By unblocking of this energy, the disease or the patient, whichever is having the issues, that gets cured. So in our body, there are 8 channels and there are 12 meridians which are there. To that, so the passage of the energy has to be there, or the flow of the energy has to be there from right to left, or maybe so tailbone to a head. So this wherever there is a blockage of this chi, so that will lead to a disease process. It might be of any origin. Okay, so with the practice of this Tai Chi, what they say that it helps in unblocking of the energy or the chi, what we say. Others believe that Tai Chi works in the same way as that of the mind-body therapies. So what they say is Tai Chi basically connects the mind and body. That's how it works. So whereas Western other exercises and all, so basically we treat mind and body separately. What they say, but the Tai Chi they say that it connects the mind and body. That's how it is useful. They say. Other than that, other important one more principle what they say is yin and yang principle, and so or is yin and yang, or we can also call it as positive or the negative energy. If there is an imbalance between the positive and negative energy or yin and yang, so then the person will have a bad health, they say. So if there is an imbalance between this yin and yang, patient will have a bad health, or there is health issues. It might be any issues, health issues. With the help of this Tai Chi, the good health can be reproduced, or there is a balance between the yin and yang, or positive energy and the negative energy. That's how the patient is getting better. And this yin and yang also can be compared when we do the exercise, when we contract the muscle and then relaxation. Without any relaxation, there is an imbalance between the muscle strength, okay, agonists and antagonists, and the antagonists. There is an imbalance. So whenever there is an imbalance, the patient will have some issues with the muscular system. So with the Tai Chi practice, so yin and yang is balanced. There is a contraction and relaxation is balanced, they say. In other words, So day and night, how it is balanced, that's how the person will be okay. If there is a day and night is imbalance, then whole world will be having some issues. So that's how the Tai Chi works. So Tai Chi basically, there are three components for the Tai Chi. One is the movement, another one is the meditation, third one is the breathing exercise. So meditation, is nothing but the patient has to concentrate when the person is doing the Tai Chi exercises. So first one is the movement. So movements are basically of upper limb and the lower limb movement. The spine has to be kept erect. So as if the person is getting the center of gravity low as much as possible so that the weight shifts are happening. That's how the balance is getting trained with the Tai Chi. So whenever he's doing the movement, the person has to do the meditation. That means he has to concentrate on those movements. And also along with that, person has to do the deep breathing exercise, they say. So meditation is nothing but here person has to concentrate on the moment and he has to concentrate on the breathing exercises while doing the Tai Chi exercises. So that's how the major three components which are working for the Tai Chi. So next slide, sir. So there are different forms of Tai Chis are there. Next slide, sir. There are different forms of Tai Chis are there. I told around 108 forms of Tai Chis are there. They are named in a different way. So Yang style, Sun style, Wu style, or Li style, or Chung style, or Ten style. Like that, different styles of Tai Chis are there. But for the different conditions, different forms of Tai Chis has to be used. Here, Tai Chi form means nothing but an exercise. Group of exercise together, we can call it as one form. For example, I put the slide of commencing form. So like that, around 108 forms of Tai Chis are available. So they are named in a different ways depending on the who person use that in style or sun style. Like to do the prerequisites or there are some precautions the person has to take. Those are the for before starting this, the therapist has to assess the person. The person should be able to stand at least for 30 seconds without support with eyes closed. Then only we can start the Tai Chi exercises. If the person is not able to stand at least for 30 seconds, then the Tai Chi exercise cannot be advised. And basically, while performing this Tai Chi exercises, person's mind should be relaxed and body should be relaxed. You should tell that patient's mind and body should be relaxed, and he should be focused on deep breathing exercise, meditation, and the movements. The person has to concentrate on these three principles, and that whenever he is doing the breathing along with the Tai Chi movements, he should not hold the breath and he should not do the mouth breathing. So these are the advice should be given to the patient. While performing this Tai Chi exercise, person should be completely relaxed and shoulders should be down. Most commonly, while doing the upper limb movements and all, the shoulder should not be elevated so that the shoulders are completely relaxed and person should be looking forward for doing this Tai Chi exercises and the stiffness, whatever the joint, whichever joint he or she is moving, there should not be any stiffness sort of kind of things should be there. So first one, what I'm showing few pictures of the Tai Chi forms of the some pictures. So basically, it has to be done in a continuous form. So one form followed by the another form of Tai Chi exercises. There is like a slower kind of dance or slower kind of martial arts, I can say. So martial arts, in the martial arts, the person is doing it very fast, the movements are, but in case of Tai Chi, it is a slower form of dance or slower form of martial arts kind of movements are happening, and they have named it in a different way. So different forms of exercises are used or Tai Chi forms are used for the different conditions. In this commencing form, I will explain this few forms of Tai Chi exercises. where in case of commencing form, the person has to do the hand up and down with slightly upper limb bent, and he has to do the squatting up and down, so that person is not supposed to do complete squatting, half squatting as if the person is sitting on the chair. Like that, he has to do. Along with that, while taking the hands up, he has to breathe in. While taking the hands down, he has to breathe out. Simultaneously, he has to do the lower limb activities also. So all this, whatever the Tai Chi exercises are there or forms are there, it should be done in a slow manner or focused manner or in a gentle manner. And most of the movements are in a circular way. Most of the movements are done in a circular way. So next form of the Tai Chi exercise is what I'm explaining is the part the horse many on both the sides, where here the person is as if he is catching or holding the football or volleyball. So the moment commencing form has to be followed by this part horses many on both person should be completely relaxed, and the person should wear the loose clothes, and he should concentrate on all the breathing and all the other exercises. Next slide, sir. So next is we have a brush knee twist step on left side. Here the basically the person is will be following the next form of the exercise followed by the other previous two exercise commencing form, and then the brush knee twist step on the left side. So here the person is keeping the left leg front, and he's shifting the weight from back leg to the front leg. Okay, right leg to the left leg, and also there is hand movements are happening circular way, that we call it as a brush knee twist left twist step on the left side. Same thing has to be done on the right side also. So next we have next form. Next slide, sir. We have a crossed hands. In this, the person is putting the hands into a cross way as if he is doing the self-defense. Somebody is trying to hit to his chest, and then person is trying to protect himself or herself by doing the cross hands. So as I told, it is a slower version of a martial art. And another theory says that whenever the person is trying to fight with the person, and we use this Tai Chi, so his energy to protect ourselves and then to push with the other opposing person so that he is off from the balance. And that's how the basically Tai Chi works. So next we have a closing form. So here, so from all the moments, person has to stand here, and you start with all these exercises with legs apart. At least legs should be off shoulder width apart, and the person should be able to stand at least for the 30 seconds. Then only we should start with the exercises. Here, mild to moderate exercises. All these exercises can be mild to moderate to the severe balance issues. Patients can be treated with the Tai Chi, different forms of exercises. So I may use a form or maybe Tai Chi exercises. So don't get confused. Basically, in case of Tai Chi, we say that it is a form. So not as an exercise. It is a Tai Chi form. So next we have a benefits of Tai Chi. It is basically very useful for the balance control and flexibility, cardiovascular fitness, and prevention of fall. So balance control, it might be mild to severe. So and all the patients with acute care, you should not use this Tai Chi. If it is a subacute or chronic case where the patient is able to stand for at least 30 seconds with eyes closed, then only we should start. In acute care, it should not be used. Tai Chi should not be used. So in chronic or subacute stage where there is a loss of balance or balance issues are there, it might be any origin, vestibular origin. Okay, so all the other than that also, if the person is having the vestibular balance issues, this Tai Chi can be used. It helps in improving the balance and flexibility and cardiovascular fitness and prevention of the fall. Next slide, sir. And other than that, we have it also helps in psychological well-being. So psychological well-being means, next slide, sir. So psychological well-being means it improves the psychological well-being by reducing the anxiety, stress, and depression, and also the mood disturbance. That's how it improves the increased esteem of the self psychological well-being. And also it is also helpful in case of improvement in the strength and pain relief and increased quality of life and improved sleep and tension headaches. So in case of chronic pain or back pain and the arthritis conditions, it is commonly used, and there are different forms of it. Tai Chi forms are used to relieve the pain for chronic back pain and arthritis, and also to strengthen the muscles. It is used. Next slide, sir. So other conditions for the Tai Chis are commonly used are it might be a stroke where uh, Young et al. Suggested that 12 weeks of short form of Tai Chi can produce a specific standing balance improvement in people with chronic stroke patients, which was trained for 6 weeks. There are studies, minimum of 4 weeks of studies, so can be effective, and the maximum of up to 12 months or 1 year, 2 years. So that much long training has to be given. So studies are there. So at least a 1 hour training has to be done for the Tai Chi exercises. So Tai Chi has to be done with a warm up and also cool down at least for 10 to 15 minutes of warm up and cool down, and minimum of 45 minutes to 1 hour of power up. Daily practice of the Tai Chi is very important. At least 5 days a week. Studies have proven that at least 3 to 5 days a week is very effective and which should be used. So next we have other conditions, arthritis. Here in arthritis, uh, Ryan et al. Has concluded that older men with osteoarthritis of the knee, so they have used 12 forms of sun-style Tai Chi exercises for the 12 weeks, and which was effective improving their arthritic symptoms and balances and physical functioning. So the 12 weeks of training is very important. So initially, the one-to-one therapist has to treat. Okay, so patient is, even though the patient is a newcomer, and the therapist also has to be trained for this Tai Chi. Without the training, it is very difficult to give the Tai Chi form of exercises to the patients. So therapist should be trained. So once the patient is confident in doing these exercises, then we can go ahead with even the group therapies. So in geriatrics and all, Tai Chi can be used as a group therapy, like how Zumba is used now for the fitness purpose. So for geriatric fitness purpose, we can use this Tai Chi as a group therapy. So it is very useful for the geriatric balance issues. Next, we have another use is cardiorespiratory functions. It is very helpful in cardiorespiratory functions also. Land C. et al. Has done the study on Tai Chi where it has showed that 19% of the higher oxygen uptake was there in case of Tai Chi practitioners as compared to that of the sedentary counterparts. In addition to this, the Tai Chi practitioners had a greater flexibility and lower percentage of body fat as compared to that of the sedentary workers. So that is the reason it can even use as a fitness purpose. Okay, it can be used for the even the reduction of the fat purpose. The Tai Chi can be used. Next slide, sir. So we have another condition which is commonly used. Tai Chi is commonly used, Parkinson's disease, where the Parkinson's Tai Chi training was given for the Parkinson's patient, where it helped in reducing the balance impairment in patients with mild to moderate Parkinson's patient. With additional to this, the patient had a benefit of improved functional capacity and reduced fall. Also, there is a reduced fall, reduction in the fall. So, and other than that, the patient with the high blood pressure also there is a reduction in the blood pressure. Also was noted the person who is practicing this Tai Chi. So Tai Chi is one of the wonderful exercise where the person is having the balance issue, whichever its origin it might be. It might be a central origin of vestibular disorder or peripheral vestibular disorder or other conditions where the patient is having the balance issues. We can use this Tai Chi exercises. And even we can go ahead with the group therapies where the patients will really enjoy with the group therapy. And while performing this group therapy or individual therapy, patient feels physically very good and mentally also very good. They feel very fit physically as well as mentally. And it is having the other benefits as I discussed in the previous slide. It is having the improvement in the balance. It is having the improvement in the reduction of the blood pressure. It might be having improvement in the flexibility. So all these benefits can be taken the advantage by doing this Tai Chi exercises. Next slide, sir. So next slide we have a different references what we have. So that is the brief overview of Tai Chi, and thank you. So if you have any queries related to this, you can put up a questions on chat box, or you can raise a question by unmuting the.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for a great session. We had a great learning ahead, especially a very new topic, Tai Chi in a vestibular rehabilitation. Might be new for many of us, and most commonly other rehabilitation methods are being used for rehabilitating the patient with the vestibular disorders. But using Tai Chi, and it seems very interesting and so much effective in these type of disorder and for other disorders also. So thanking you, sir, for such a great session. Now I would like to request all the participants, if anyone has any query, they can ask. And if you allow, sir, with your permission, can I go ahead with the chat box? There is, I think, 1 or 2 questions available.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you have any questions, you can unmute and then directly you can ask the question, sir, or you can put up in the chat box.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, there is one question from Dr. Shweta. Actually, she was asking about the specific testing methods for the vestibular disorders. But I think this is the topic is for the Tai Chi only. And the next question is, can we use mirror therapy in these patients with the vestibular disorders?
Yes, sir. You can use the mirror therapies also. You can use mirror therapy, and there are very less studies on the mirror therapy, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And there's one more question from Kolal Kishore, and how the Tai Chi will improve the cardiovascular fitness.
So it is a different forms of movements are happening in the upper limb and lower limb. So the person has to do this exercise at least for 45 minutes, sir. 45 minutes to 1 hour. If daily, regular basis, the person starts doing these exercises, automatically cardiorespiratory functions are getting better. So you are giving the load to the cardiorespiratory system. By that's how it helps in cardiorespiratory function improvement. So there are studies I quoted. So it improved the 19% of oxygenation as compared to that of the sedentary life. So automatically you are concentrating here the moments. There is the breathing exercise, and also there is a different form meditations. All three together it connects the mind and body, and that's how it improves the cardiorespiratory function, because it is a different forms of exercises. Upper limb and lower limb different movements are given to the patient. Lower form of dance for 45 minutes the person is doing, automatically cardiorespiratory function gets better. Like how the person does exercise for 1 hour or 45 minutes. So regular exercise or gym. So same way, different forms of exercise are there which are done continuous in a flow manner. So that's how the cardiorespiratory function gets improved.
So then there's one more query that using Tai Chi in chronic stroke population, standing must be achieved and patient should be able to hold position for at least 30 seconds. But
Yes.
there is one patient who is 9 months post-stroke case, and the patient is even hold bed even lying, and she had too much fear of falling. So what can else to be done with the patient?
If the person is not able to stand at least for 30 seconds, the Tai Chi is not advisable, sir. We have to use the different forms of physiotherapy techniques where the person is not, if the person is not able to stand. Once the person is able to stand for 30 seconds, then only we can use the exercise. If the patient is bedridden and patient is not able to stand, then this basically the Tai Chi exercise are done in standing, sir, not in sitting or not in a lying down position. Person has to be in standing where the person is shifting the weight from one leg to other leg, like how static standing, so weights are done anterior posterior or medial lateral. Here the person is doing the weight shift from one leg to other leg or medial to lateral within the leg itself, so that the static as well as the dynamic balance is getting improved. Whereas stroke patients with bedridden thing or sitting patients, we cannot advise this Tai Chi exercise. So wherever the balance issues are there, it might be whatever origin, the person should be able to stand because it's a standing form of exercise. Standing has to be attained. Without that, we cannot do this exercise.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for great elaboration on the topic and for answering the question very nicely and for solving our queries. And we are receiving great comments and feedbacks in the chat box. So it was really a wonderful and outstanding session. We are even much blessed to have many more senior faculty members over here who have joined us for this great session. And very interestingly, we have maintained around 100% attendance during the session. We had started with around 32 participants, and just before, I think 2 minutes before, we had around 32 participants. So it was a really a wonderful session, and it shows, yes, 100% attendance means that it was a very good session, and it was so much interesting for all of us. So I would like to thank, first of all, to you, sir, for presenting such a great topic among us and to giving us a new idea that what can else to be used rather than using other traditional therapies for the rehabilitating the balance issues. And I would also like to thank to all the senior dignitaries. I would like to thank to my teachers, Dr. Harsh Rajdeep sir, Dr. Charu Sharma ma'am, and Dr. Ritu ma'am, and many of the senior faculty members who joins us and supports us. Dr. Kalpana Jutsi ma'am, she is the associate professor in the North DMC Medical College, Delhi. Dr. Jiten Munjal sir is a senior physical therapist in the, sorry, a mistake. Dr. Kalpana Jutsi ma'am is a associate professor in the Jamia Hamdard University, Delhi. Jiten Munjal sir is a senior physical therapist at North DMC Medical College. Amita ma'am is a senior physiotherapist in the Saudi Arabia, and Dr. Nanda Kumari is a clinical therapist at the Malaysia, and Dr. Priyanka ma'am is also a clinical therapist working with a patient with leprosy, and she's also a resource person with us. Dr. Rajesh sir is also a cardiovascular therapist in the Kuwait itself, and many other senior physical therapists who has joined us for this great session today. We are really grateful to you all and sincere regards to you. Even we are much grateful for the Sanjeev Kumar sir. They have also joined us for this great session, and we have received the great feedback from them also. It matters a lot for us, and really sincere thanks to you all. And sincere regards and deepest gratitude to you, Anil sir.
And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
even I would like to thank everyone. Hope I have done the justification to the particular topic. If you have any queries, also you can take down my mail address from the Himanshu sir. You can put up a mail to me. So if you have any queries related to the Tai Chi, so I'll be very happy to clear your doubts.
That
So
will
hope
be
I have done the justification. Hope
yeah.
I have done the justification to this particular topic. And thank you one and all. And there was some technical issues with slide sharing and all. So I'm sorry for this inconvenience actually.
Circuits of sir, it actually happens and it is not in our control. This is the only drawback of our online learnings. But still, we have delivered a great session today. So really thankful to you, sir, for such a great deliberation and great presentation, even evidence-based presentation of a very new topic, the Tai Chi in the vestibular rehabilitation. Sincere thanks to you. And I have provided my contact number to all of you in the chat box. If anyone has any query regarding the Tai Chi, you can WhatsApp me. I'll provide the mail ID of the Anil sir. Then you can ask the queries. So thanking you all. We'll meet
Tai Chi
again on the
vestibular
next Sunday.
rehabilitation.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care. Good night.